Welcome to episode 135 of the BCF ORG podcast, The Business of Business. I'm Brian Fisher. Are you a business owner or executive searching for practical strategies to grow your company? This podcast series focuses on the various subjects and topics to help you run a successful, profitable business and is targeted to business owners and C-suite executives. But anyone interested in business can benefit. It reflects my 34 years as a business owner and subsequent years as a business mentor and consultant. They're approximately 15 minutes long, so you can listen while commuting. In the previous episode, 134, our guest was Atiba de Souza, discussing the delegation trap. It's not them, it's you. Today's episode discusses how SEO and AI search is changing with Adam Hamadache. Based out of London, England, Adam Hamadache is the CEO of Formula Digital, a company that was founded on a bold idea. Marketing should be smarter, not bigger. Let's welcome Adam Hamadache. Adam, welcome to the BCF ORG podcast, The Business of Business.
Hi, Brian. Pleasure to be here.
Thanks for joining us today, Adam. Adam, I'm always interested in people's stories. What's your background becoming the CEO and founder of Formula Digital, a company that was founded on a bold idea: marketing should be smarter, not bigger?
Yeah, I mean, so my background, I actually started in publishing. So I used to create hotel promotions in a national newspaper here in the UK called the Sunday Times. Did that for an agency some while ago. Did that for a couple of years, and that was a great little business model. And then I sort of called up the biggest competitor of the Times, and which is the Telegraph here, and said, "Hey, I've been doing this. Would you do this with me?" And I started my own agency at 25. And since then, I've been really working with hotels to better understand their problems. That publishing model was beautiful, but it was, right at the end of its life cycle, because at that time, Booking.com was just coming to fruition. So really, I had to pivot quite drastically and started working with, I must have known sort of at that point hundreds of hotels, but I knew their biggest pain point was the 18% they pay to Booking.com, and they really don't want to be using them any more than they have to be. So we did lots of different variations of marketing to help hotels grow their occupancy, grow their rate, and not be quite so reliant on these OTAs, online travel agents. And that really kind of took us to where we are now, which is, starting an agency that is very different, I think, from a lot of marketing agencies across the world. And the reason being is that we sort of realized that the agency model is very fractured. My experience was certainly that clients were kind of wanting and needing more proactivity from their agencies because, frankly, they're busy people, and they really need people to be, to challenge them. They want holistic thinking. They kind of need the agency to have their ear to the ground. But conversely, whilst all of this kind of the client needs were growing, agencies wanted and needed better utilization rates. So ultimately, what that means is you've got account managers being asked to look after more clients than they can feasibly deliver on. You've got 25-year-old account managers being the main point of contact. And so we kind of looked at this model and thought, you know what, let's change things up a little bit. Let's really limit our capacity, which is kind of where the idea of marketing should be smarter, not bigger. Let's only employ senior people in my business. So we've got, former business directors of big London ad agencies working, client services directors that have chosen to work for our small company. And actually, let's not tie clients into contracts. And I think that has been really resonated with the marketplace. So yeah, that's a whistle-stop tour of how I've got to where I am today.
Well, that's a great story. This episode's topic is SEO and AI search. How's the landscape recently changed with SEO and AI search?
Enormously in the last few years. It's been pretty wild. So I think probably the biggest change that we have seen is that digital marketing in and of itself has kind of had traditionally two responsibilities. those generally being that as digital marketers, we need to build brand assets that inform, entice, and convert. So we build our website, we optimize our social media feeds, and we create aggregator listings, like in the work that I do in hotels, booking.com pages. But we've also had to drive visibility and traffic to those pages. So, we invest in growing our social following, or getting higher up the ranks on Google, or indeed running ads. So those are the kind of two distinct responsibilities of digital marketing. I would argue that now the big change that's happened with the emergence of AI is that the two new growing responsibilities of digital marketing is, number one, get recommended by AI. Make sure ChatGPT is recommending your business rather than somebody else's. But also influence what we call your AI shadows, almost like your interpretation of what your brand stands for. So influence what AI is saying about you. So if you consider that customers are increasingly seeing this AI shadow, this interpretation of your brand, long before they visit your website, because AI overviews are more prominent on Google. ChatGPT is obviously functions by delivering your AI shadow to customers when they make a request or a prompt. So you've got to work to make sure that what AI is saying about your business aligns with what you want it to be, because very often that some of the stuff that it unearths can be quite negative.
Following up on that, how is generative AI changing how we do business?
Well, I think enormously, again, I think there's two ways. There's positive and there's some negative. So the positive, I would say, we're able to scale our ideas faster. It's like for $15 a month, we've got a copywriter, we've got a PhD level researcher, we've got a marketing director, all available to us. And that's wonderful. And that's making us really, really efficient as business owners and as marketers. The negative, unfortunately, I think we're seeing job losses already at the lower levels. 18 months ago, I had a full-time copywriter in my business before really when it was still an unknown whether this generative AI could be used to create website content and blog content. Now we know it is, obviously, if it's done in the right ways. So copywriters, I think, are a dying breed. And I also think small service-based businesses simply don't need graduates anymore. If I think back to some of the sort of the low-level tasks that I used to do when I came out of university and was working in my first company, all of that is automated and can be done very easily and to a much higher standard through tools like ChatGPT. So I think we're seeing job losses already, and it's only going to get worse. I mean, there's some studies right now saying that I'm thinking about one particular one that was published on Cornell University. It was Your Brain on ChatGPT, Accumulation of Cognitive Debt, which is essentially saying the more we use these tools, the dumber we're getting. It's a bit like, if you stop going to the gym and you stop, you come out of the gym for a while and you go back in, you just can't lift as heavy as you perhaps used to do. And I think, it's sort of approaching it in that same way. I think if we're not critically thinking about tasks like we used to, there is a risk that we're going to get a bit more stupid, which is a worry.
We're speaking with Adam Hamadache, the CEO and founder of Formula Digital. Adam Hamadache is a proven business builder, leader, and digital strategist with deep expertise in growing companies and navigating the evolving intersection of AI, SEO, and hospitality. With a background spanning marketing, publishing, and hands-on hotel management, Adam's business acumen is both strategic and practical. He's helped clients grow revenue, build high-performing teams, and systemize success, making him a go-to voice for anyone looking to scale with clarity and purpose. Adam is also a leading thinker on the future of AI, search, and digital transformation. Now, let's get back to the questions. Adam, how can companies build a smarter growth strategy?
Fundamentally, it starts with getting found. Businesses that have to be have visibility as the kind of the first port of call in terms of driving growth and ultimately, getting more customers. So really, I would suggest, this is a complicated area and I could talk about it for days, but I would distill it down to two key areas. You've got to have the technical stuff working really solidly on your website. The technical let's just for layman's terms, let's break it down. The technical stuff in the back end of your website, things like broken links, things like making sure that you've got no duplicate meta descriptions, some of the jargonous techie bits, those are now actively working against you if you don't have them in place. And I would also say that your online reputation carries more weight than it ever did, just simply because of the way that AI platforms find information about businesses. Every kind of negative review, if you've sort of got an online reputation, is almost working against you like never before. So I'd say the technical side of things is really important, but also getting really solid content on your website is really essential. So Google gives us the EEAT framework, which is experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. That's a really sort of solid framework for creating content. And ultimately, Google is actively working really hard to try to deprioritize some of the low quality content out there on the internet that has historically been sort of ranking quite highly. So I would say, yeah, getting the technical stuff for your website sorted and getting really solid content will set you in a good place for growth.
Adam, what results or lessons learned have you seen with businesses and individuals that have implemented your recommendations?
Well, I think if we focus on the technical side of things that I sort of alluded to earlier, one client we worked with through an agency, we often do obviously a lot of SEO work. With one client, we saw a 160% increase in just 4 weeks by fixing some of the technical fundamentals wrong with their website. And this is a high converting, beautiful, aesthetically pleasing website. But just in the back end, there's a whole load of stuff that you don't necessarily see. So getting those technical fixes can have a near instant impact on actually driving your growth and visibility. And I would also say SEO, we all know that as search engine optimization, it's probably now more like search everywhere optimization because of the proliferation of these AI tools. It is a long-term lasting investment. Generally, when you've invested in it for a year or two, you go up there and you stay up there, as opposed to perhaps like the ephemeral nature of more advertising, pay-per-click advertising, where obviously if you stop spending tomorrow, your visibility sort of goes with it. So I would say those two things are really kind of where we've seen the biggest results and lessons.
We're speaking with Adam Hamadache, CEO and founder of Formula Digital. Adam, is there anything I've not asked that you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think, look, there's enormous change happening in the way that customers search for stuff online, whether you're shopping for shoes or a car or a hotel. And I think as business owners and as marketers, there's so much noise. There's just an abundance of noise, and you could spend your lifetime researching everything that you think is right and wrong in terms of your strategy. Where we've tried to sort of mitigate this is creating our own platform called Score Plan, which kind of very simply gives you one simple score and one simple plan in terms of what you need to action. So it pulls that score from about 30 different data points, and to just be able to distill down what do I actually need to do to drive growth. So that was our plan with the Score Plan, and I would suggest it's pretty effective at giving some value there.
Adam, how can people get in contact with you?
Go to scoreplan.ai. There's a whole load of free stuff that you can get. You can get your free audit by just going to scoreplan.ai. It will give you your score. It will give you your plan. We put a lot of the sort of the bulky value in the free version. Obviously, there's paid versions too, but I would say that's a really good place to start. I'm also pretty active on LinkedIn, so you can search for me, Adam Hamadache. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one, so you can find me on there too.
Adam, thank you for joining us today on the BCF ORG podcast, The Business of Business.
Thanks, Brian.
My sincere thanks to Adam Hamadache for joining us today. Managing the performance and future direction of your company are two of the most important things you do as a leader. And I'm here to help you. If you'd like to reach out to me for business mentoring or consulting, help you with a podcast, schedule a speaking engagement, or potentially be a guest like Adam, please go to bcforg.com. There's a red Contact Us button in the middle of the homepage. These podcasts will be released the first and third Tuesday each month. This podcast is available wherever you get your podcast. In search, type BCF ORG. Be sure to leave a space between BCF and ORG. And I'm looking for this podcast to move from an upper mid-tier podcast to a top-tier podcast. Please leave a positive review. Let your friends and colleagues know about it. And don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow the podcast. Join us for our next episode, 136, when our guest will be Matt Ruttenberg, discussing 401k strategies for business owners. In business, running a successful, profitable business is the ultimate scorecard. You're never done and can always be better. It tends to be more fun than work, frustrating at times, but can be very rewarding. From BCF ORG Corp., I'm Brian Fisher, wishing you the best. Thanks.